So we're going to put a tank upstairs, and today we're going to start reinforcing this floor. What is going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now, if you guys have been following the channel for a while now, you're going to know that I've always had intentions of putting a Peninsula tank upstairs. Now we're finally getting closer to making this dream come to reality. So what I'm going to do is replace the 6'2" banister with a 6-foot tank. So I'm going to be using a Waterbox 6-foot Peninsula. A buddy's after my tank, so I'm going to use that when we move, hopefully to get the new tank going and then move stuff into it. Might do a brand new scape, we'll see. But so the first thing is first, in order to do this, we need to make sure that the floor can actually support that weight. You know, 180 gallons is a lot of water weight, so it's a couple thousand pounds. So in order to do that, first we need to get ourselves an engineer and make sure the floor can support it.
Okay, and so this thing's going to be 230 gallons.
It'll probably be less, but we'll go with that.
So how much volume is there underneath that you can stick stuff in?
Okay, like for here?
Well, underneath
inside the stand.
Inside the stand, so you can still stick stuff inside the stand, and
true.
that weighs something. So if we assume something similar at 60 pounds per lineal foot of stuff that you can stick underneath, so now we have an extra 360 pounds that we can add to this thing. So it just keeps adding up.
It does. So what if we just say like 2700, keep it safe. Realistically, I'll probably take some of the equipment and put it in a little laundry area to like have less clutter. That is realistic. Okay.
I prefer to. But we also have to add our safety factor.
There you go.
Of 1.5.
Really?
Multiplied by 1.5 gives us 4,255 pounds.
Supposed to park a car up there. Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The smart cars are pretty lightweight. I think they're under 1,000 pounds.
It's like a nano tank.
Definitely a golf cart or two.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't need that. The other thing that we need to account for is having a party upstairs beside your fish tank, because you're going to do that. You're going to invite all of your friends over
to look at the fish tank
and show off your fish tank.
That's your logic.
So there's going to be a bunch of people standing on all of these joists, looking at your fish tank. So now we have to account for all of that weight.
Okay. Is that the safety factor?
No.
It's on top of that.
It's on top of the safety factor.
Okay.
So this is all the people and the couches and their dogs.
Yeah.
So that's being interrupted.
High demand.
By my friend. That's 40 pounds per square foot. Okay. So what's our length here?
Just over 10 feet.
10 feet. Okay, that's pretty good. So if it has lots of tiny feet, then we can just equally divide by the length of the box, which is 6 feet, which gives us...
My ledger?
Yeah, because if it wasn't on a ledger, I would say it was no problem. But because it's on a ledger...
What do you mean a ledger? Hangers?
Yeah, the hanger. So it's not just sitting on the floor joist.
Yeah,
it's hanging off of the side of the floor joist.
So the one semi-promising thing is there's a gap right here. If we just have to fill that one side, like to shore up...
Yeah, if we can just shore up that ledger and confirm the connection, because that's... The ledger connections is where a lot of people don't make a good enough connection.
Yeah.
And that's where decks collapse.
So it's basically the hanger's not supporting the weight.
So the hangers are probably fine. Even the weakest hanger on the market will give plenty of capacity.
Okay.
So there's a couple connections for our load paths. We've got the joist to the hanger to the ledger to our mystery connection.
Yeah. What's the mystery connection?
That's, I don't know what it is. There could be a stud. And
a
ledger hanging off the side.
I think it was a stud or a joist this way and a double one. And I think they're joisted off the double one, I think.
Yeah, but if that ledger just has like 3 dinky nails every stud, and whether or not it actually hit the stud, it might have gone off at an odd...
Okay.
But yeah, so we're going to stick it here. So this is actually 6 feet?
Yep, it's like 6'2", I think, or 6'1", 6'2".
Oh, so that'd be pretty spiffy to replace it.
I think it's going to look sweet.
So the big thing that you need to worry about, if you left this piece here and then anchored your frame to it, this is probably not fastened properly because typical residential construction. But that's typically how things would get built, is that you have your main corner post and then you fasten what you need to it. And then on that end, you just fasten to the wall and then you're good to go. Can I do my math now?
Yes.
That's fine too. Yeah, you could just stuck it.
Do I still need to brace this one? Or could I get away with just bracing?
No, because the
there
one
back?
at the very end, if the 6 feet stops right here, this last joist doesn't pick up a whole lot.
Yeah. So we've now officially been engineered. We ran all the numbers, estimating weight's about 2,800 pounds by the time you factor in the glass, the rock, the sand, the water, everything else. So it's a good chunk of weight. So thankfully it's not too hard to kind of structurally reinforce this. We worked off a 1.5 times safety factor. So, so calculated out to be able to support 4,200 pounds. So we have, that 1.5 safety factor. So thankfully on this, there is a bit of a gap on the left-hand side of the cupboard, which actually works out quite well. Because when we're looking at old photos, above the beam here, there is a double header box around the stairs. And the joists are only about 10-foot span to the window. And because of that span, it's not too bad. So the only thing we're gonna have to do is put in some reinforcements underneath that one kind of joist, and that will support the hangers. Now the joists are also running this way across the room, so it's gonna span multiple joists. So that one's pretty good. So first step is going to be to temporarily remove this cupboard, remove the fridge, and then we're going to put in some reinforcements. All right, so got one down on this side. I'll probably do one more right here, and then we'll do one on the other side of the wall later, and then we should be good to go to support those double headers. And yeah, should be good for the tank rate. I'm also gonna pop a couple screws through this and make sure it's just kind of secured to the rest of the frame. It'll make it one big solid unit. All right, so we got our two 2x6s on the concrete all the way up to the studs, or the double joist box, I guess it would be called. A little bit of a pain to get through the 5/8 fire rock and res bar and Doniconda, but finally made the little channels through, and we are supported. So there is a box header, I believe it's called, that goes around the stairwell. And it was kind of a floating one, I believe. So we're gonna have 2 supports here, and it looks like there might be another support in the wall. And just to be safe, I'm gonna do one more on the other side. And it should be built like a rock now. All right, so now comes the fun part. We gotta put the cabinet and everything back together. Let's fix up the flooring. I think everything else is kind of vacuumed, cleaned up, pretty much good to go. So now we just gotta get the cabinet on the wall. And yeah, this will be a fun one-man job. I got these things that are really cool because they kind of extend and kind of help you hold things. Now there was previous screw holes, so I can get those lined up, then we'll be pretty much good to go. There you go. So realize this is not directly aquarium video today, but it's a very important thing if you want to use a larger tank on a second floor of a house, is to make sure it's properly supported. So it really does make a big difference. You don't want to really risk anything happening to their house. You don't want your joists to sag over time and, prevent a disaster. So taking that extra, few hours and that little extra mile to make sure everything's solid goes a long way. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I'm super stoked because, in a month or two from now, we're gonna have the nice 6-foot peninsula upstairs. It's gonna look amazing. I've been planning this for years and years and years, so the day is finally coming.